So first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. Like, I feel this initiative is really great for the juniors and for the people who are planning to apply for the jobs or sitting for placement drives. And thank you so much for having me here.
It's great to have you here, Nitant. So let's jump right into the questions. I'm going to lay out some questions that people generally have about placements, the process, and everything. And as far as you can remember, just lay down some insights. All
Sure.
right. So, first question being, this is very common. How was life at SBSC for you?
Yeah, so for me, life at SBSC has been full of experiences. Like if I look at myself in class 11th and 12th, or uske baad, when I look at myself passing out of SBSC, I have gone through a change. I have gone through a incredible change. Like पहले I was a guy जो बस books में देख के पढ़ाई कर रहा है, marks आ गए अच्छे, I was satisfied. But SBSC has given me an opportunity to apply those theoretical concepts into practical implementation. So for that also, and I've improved a lot upon my soft skills. I think that is one skill that everyone should focus upon, ki how you're interacting with the world. SBSC has given me an opportunity to go out there, talk to people, analyze myself and improve on myself. So that is how, like, the experience has been completely wholesome.
That's great. So, you're the guy who's always into the books, you were saying, right? So, what was your GPA in college? I guess
All,
till fourth semester, right? Yeah.
yeah, so when I was applying for the job, the company came when I was in fifth semester. So they took an average of last 4 semesters. My average was 7.6. Normally, the companies, they have this criteria. They take, you are eligible only for the position if you have a GPA above 6.5. So compared to that, I think that was a pretty decent score, which I tried to maintain.
Yeah, that's a decent GPA, I believe. How many PORs did you have?
All right. So talking about my society experience, I would like to tell you a story which started in second year. Like I was not a part of any society in my first year of college, but I was sitting with my friend and he was sharing his experience of college society. So that was quite tempting for me. So in my second year of college, I strategized the number of societies and the type of societies I want to go through. So I came up with four major categories, which was social work. I was a part of Rotaract Club of our college, SBSC. Then event management, I was a part of TEDx SBSC. Then I wanted to have an academic society as well. So I was a part of Finance and Investment Society. And then to reflect my passion in sports, I applied for a position in Crimson Sports Committee as well. So majorly, I was a part of four. I was a member of four societies in my second year. Coming to the third year, I continued only with two societies, which were TEDx SBSC. I was holding a POR there. I was the co-organizer in my third year, and Finance and Investment Society. There, I held the position of social media and marketing head.
All right. These are lot of societies, Nitan. So, do you believe that working in these societies it actually helped you to bag a placement offer?
Definitely, it has helped me in improving my soft skills. Like I told you, I was a guy who was only focused towards his book, but society has given me an experience कि मैं बाहर जाके लोगों से बात करूं. Coming out of my comfort zone and talking to people, articulating my sentences, articulating my ideas was one thing I was poor at, but society has helped me a lot in developing that skill. So when I sat for my placement drive, their number one criteria was that my communication skills are very good. Like I'm able to articulate my thoughts and present it in front of others. Like having a great idea is one thing, but coming out and sharing that idea so that it is implementable, that is a different thing.
I
So society
completely
has given
agree.
me,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. So, Nitant, except for societies and PORs, did you pursue any courses like certification?
Definitely, definitely. Like I was talking to my senior in my second year. I asked them about the opportunities which we get in the placement drive. So one of the companies, like for every company, there is one prerequisite that you should have a minimum amount of knowledge pertaining to MS Office. MS Office would categorize into MS Excel, MS Office, so MS PowerPoint, sorry. So for me, doing a course in such softwares was a priority. So I did courses in MS Excel, I did courses in PowerPoint, I did a few courses in Tableau as well for data visualization. My interest revolved around data visualization. So I did a course in Tableau as well. Other category of courses per se would be that I participated a lot into the conferences and the symposiums which were happening. I focused on my networking skills, and these opportunities gave me the platform to go out and practice my skills.
That's good to know, Nitant. Can you tell me about your internships?
Yes, talking about internships, I majorly categorized my internships into two buckets. One was a source for pocket money for me. Like you also know the experience of being a college kid, you need certain amount of pocket money for yourself. So going out there, doing internships, which would facilitate you with certain amount of stipend, were the I kept those internships in bucket number one, stipends. So the type of internships which I did in that category was content writing, digital marketing. These were the two kinds of internships which I did. And the second bucket was of academic internships. Like I did an internship with Think Act Rise Foundation. We were working on a research paper in affiliation with the IIFT Delhi, Indian Institute for Foreign Trade. So that was one internship in which I came out and showcased my hard skills, like for example, my Excel skills, my theoretical knowledge. So that was that internship. I did it in the second category of internships.
So, do you think that bagging certain internships and doing certain courses, it actually glorifies your CV? Like you
Yes,
have
absolutely.
content to put into your CV, you have to, you can write down more lines in your CV, because I've seen a lot of CVs and most of them, there are spaces left in between because people have to fill the CV till the bottom. But still, so do you believe that this adds to the content?
Definitely, absolutely. Like if I share about my personal interviews experience, the HR majorly talked to me about my internships and the courses which I did. So that was a lot of content which I could share in my interview. You should keep a resume of a single page, and filling that resume from the very top till the very end is very important, and the quality of internships which you have done. So yes, courses and internships play a very major role.
Did you always aim for Deloitte, or did you have an eye on another company as well?
All right. So I would like to share an experience in this regard. I was sitting with my seniors in the college canteen, and we were discussing about the placement drives, like what all companies come and what are the requirements, what do they see in a potential candidate. So one of my seniors quote unquote he said, "Ki bro, Deloitte aati hai, that is the first company, and they take the cream of the college." So for me, getting selected in this company was very important for my own personal reasons. And this from that very day, this company was my dream company. And getting into it was like a dream come true. Definitely. It was a great feeling.
That's really great. I believe that everyone has an aim to get into Deloitte because that's the first company, as you mentioned. And I believe the package is good, the profile is good, and the company in itself, it's a big four, right? So coming to the recruitment process, do you remember how many rounds you had to go through?
Yes, majorly there were 3 rounds, but one of the most important thing was the resume screening process. I don't count that into the number of rounds. If you count that as well, so there will be 4 rounds. So the importance of resume screening is that you only have a page to fill out your experiences. If you have done 3 or 4 internships and if you're a part of 3 or 4 societies, fitting everything into one page of your resume is very difficult. So what you have to do is you have to prioritize your experiences, like what all relevant information is there, keeping that in the resume and then presenting it to the company. That is one thing which is very important. Apart from this round, there was one aptitude round. After that, there was the group discussion round, and then there was the personal interview round, both HR and technical.
So let's jump into these rounds. All right. You said that first is the resume screening. So that is entirely dependent on your resume. Do we need to submit a cover letter as well?
All right, so they're flexible with the cover letter or the resume. Like at some places they write resume, at some places they write CV with a cover letter. So that is one thing which I think the company is flexible with.
And the next round being the aptitude test round. This is something that a lot of the third years, it would be new for them, especially for people who aren't prepping for CAT, right? So how do you believe that, what were the various sections that were there and how should one prep for those?
All right, so the number of sections which were there in the aptitude test were four. First one was quantitative ability that revolved around maths. Second one was data interpretation and logical reasoning, that is self-explanatory, the type of questions which they present. Third one was accountancy, and the fourth one was verbal ability. I would like to mention types of questions which they
Yeah.
presented in sections. So in quantitative ability, they presented us with the questions pertaining to numbers, pertaining to arithmetic and geometry. Arithmetic being uh, profit and loss or
Simple
time,
interest,
speed, distance.
compound interest, yeah, time and work and these concepts. All right.
Yes.
Any resource that you used?
All right. Pertaining to the resources, there was this one website, prepleaf.com. At the same time, last year, it was a free website. I'm not so sure if it is still free or not because the data there, the content was very helpful. They focused on company related aptitude tests only. Like if I'm prepping for Deloitte, they have a different section in which they have given questions which have been asked in the aptitude tests of Deloitte previously. So that was very helpful for me. Also, I think talking to seniors who are prepping for MBA, CAT, SNAP, ZAT, that
Yeah.
would be very helpful. Like they've got resources, free resources, or they're affiliated with some kind of coaching. So they can guide you with what type of the YouTube playlists, they can share it with you. They can share certain PDFs.
All right. What about LRDI? What type of questions? I've heard there are graphs and tables, pie charts.
Yes, in the DILR section, there were graphs. You have to interpret the data which was presented graphically. And logical reasoning had questions pertaining to arrangement. Like one question was that you are sitting in a circular arrangement, who will be sitting beside whom? These kind of questions and directions. And there was one very interesting question: if A equals to B, C equals to D, then what would X be equal to? These kind of questions are also there in the question. Not so easy, but of a more difficult level, but they were quite interesting to do.
All right. Related to the verbal ability section. So was the content, the questions that were asked related to the GMAT or GRE format, or were they the CAT format?
I am not sure about how GMAT's ability works because I've not prepped for it and I've not researched about it. But when I was answering Deloitte's verbal ability section, I think the criteria was majorly of CAT because I've seen a lot of resources from my seniors, the reading comprehension sections, the grammatical sections in which they're asking for antonyms or synonyms, or they've given certain sentences and you have to make comprehensible paragraph out of it. So these all category of questions are included in CAT syllabus as well.
So do you remember the duration of the test, the aptitude test?
I think it was around 1.5 hours long. I
So
was
its
able to solve
difficulty level is, you're saying that it's easier than CAT.
definitely. It is
Do
not
you
as difficult.
remember how many people were shortlisted?
I think 150 people applied in total from our college, and around 70-80 were shortlisted after the aptitude test.
All right. So basically half of them were selected. All right.
That
Fair
is it.
enough.
Like I am talking to a lot of juniors, they have n number of PORs, but what they're lacking was that they are not prepping for the aptitude test. You
Because
can
this is
have
mainly
any.
something that they haven't been involved in, right? Except for the students who are prepping for CAT or people who have given DUJAT in after their 12th. But this is something it's completely out of syllabus. You have to jump back into the basics of class 11th, 12th. So coming to the next round, you said around 70, 60 people got selected. So in the group discussion, How was your GD experience? How many people were there in your panel?
All right. So for me, to sum up my GD experience, it was quite chaotic. There were 7 people in my panel, and the time which was given to us was 15 minutes. So everyone was jumping in to make their point heard. I think one of the skills which is very important in a GD round is, which I followed, was just a simple hand raise. Like if you're raising your hand, there is always this one guy who is looking for some leadership points. He will always cut in between other people and he will give you the chance to speak. So that was my personal experience. That is not how every time things will go around in a group discussion round. But I think being very polite in your approach, waiting for your chance. If you want to make a very important point, you can just simply raise your hand. If you're not getting a chance to speak to initiate the discussion, that is all right. If you're not given a chance to conclude the discussion, that is all right. But the type of points which you're presenting in front of the people who are judging you, those points should be very well structured, very well articulated. You should be making sense out of that. Should that sentence, that point should make sense. So
I
that was
completely
my.
agree with this, Nitant. I believe that everyone is running after either to start the discussion or to end the discussion, like
Yeah.
give the introduction or the conclusion. So that because that is something that gathers a lot of attention from the panelists as well. But I believe that there have been situations for you and for me as well, where both of us have cleared the GD round and we weren't the ones who either started or ended the discussion, right? So it's entirely possible that even if you're speaking in the middle or whenever you're speaking, if your content is good, your speech is good, your communication skills are good, you're involving other people as well, then you'll excel in the GD round. So pertaining
Definitely.
to the topic, Nitant, I believe what kind of topics are there in GD?
All right. So majorly there are two types of topic. One being abstract topic, like they can give you topics like you have to talk about alphabets. That is very abstract in nature. Like what will you say about alphabets? So you have to be very creative in your approach. Like how differently you are looking at the topic. And the second type of category in which GD rounds can be summarized is the current affairs category. For in the Deloitte's GD round, majorly the topics revolved around the current affairs, what was happening around in the economy, what are the like COVID scenario last year in the same, like the process started in July, so we were in a lockdown phase. So there were few points with few topics pertaining to COVID as well, current affairs basically. My personal topic was AI and its implementation in workforce.
So how
So
much
that
time do you get to think about the topic and jot down some points?
I think they gave us around 5 minutes to think about the topic.
Oh, 5 minutes, all right, that's great. Can we look into our phones and enter the topic and get some points from the internet as well? Because I believe that the next placement round would be online as well, right? So can this be done?
I personally feel that you shouldn't do that. You should definitely prep before the GD round. If by chance you're getting an opportunity that you can go around and see in your phone what is happening, what is the topic about, there are people who are constantly watching you over the, like your video is there, you are visible to the judges who are judging you on your points. So doing that won't be advisable, and prepping before the interview, before the GD round is very much, would be in your favor. For me, I prepped through the, like my topic was AI and its implementation in workforce. I was going through Deloitte's Insight app, and there was an article exactly of the same, in the same line. So that worked out very well for me, that I took out some time prior to the GD round in which I read all of the articles which were published by Deloitte
All
Consulting
right.
or Deloitte Audit. So I would very much recommend that as well. Like you can read news, but you should also go on that app and you should read all the articles which they have published.
All right, Nitant, coming to the next round, the final round, the one that people find themselves in, and they're the most stressful rounds, I believe, is the interview round. So, how many interview rounds were there? Was there a segregation between technical interview, and the HR interview?
There was only one interview round in which there were two people in the panel who were asking me question. One was the HR and one was a manager at Deloitte. So the manager, he was asking me technical questions, a few technical questions, and the HR was asking me HR related questions. So I think prepping for the personal interview would be to be well versed with your resume. Like you should have a story of how you went around your internship, what was the experience of your internship. You should be aware of every possible questions which they can ask pertaining to your resume. That was my strategy. Like from my education background to my internships, from to my PORs, I thought of every possible question which they can ask me, and that way also you know lower down your stress a lot. Like when you're going into the interview, you're well prepared for it.
All right. So the interview, was it very formal, or was it a casual conversation between two people?
It was a very casual conversation. Like when I entered the meeting, I was very stressed about how things will go around. So the HR, she took around 2 minutes to calm me down, and she said, "Listen, Nathan, this is just a conversation. You don't have to freak out or anything. We will ask you very simple questions pertaining to your own educational background and your resume." So that was it. Was more of a conversation than an interview.
All right. Can you tell us about the questions? What types of questions? Some examples.
They asked me which internships you have done and tell us something about one of those internships. So I chose the internship which I recently did, which was a market research analyst internship at Think Act Rise Foundation. They asked me my work there, what did I do, and what did I learn out of it, and how was my experience overall. Then they also asked a few questions relating to journal entries, questions relating to cost accounting. Also, they've asked so technical questions, accountancy, and HR related, your resume, your internships or PORs.
So, Nitant, were there any questions that you didn't know the answers to, or what did you do in that situation?
All right, so they asked me a question which was a complete surprise for me. They asked me, if we do not give you this opportunity, would you go around and apply for other job opportunities as well? So I was very honest in my approach while answering that question. I told them very clearly, listen, my first priority is Deloitte. If you guys plan to go sideways from it, then I will definitely apply for other opportunities as well. If you come across a question, a technical question you don't know any answer to, tell very honestly that, listen, I don't know the answer to this question, and I would like you to ask some other question if possible. Being very honest in your approach, the HRs, the managers, they appreciate it a lot.
All right. So, how long was your interview for? Do you remember?
Yeah, my interview lasted for 15 to 20 minutes.
Just to put it out there, did you call up people, your friends who had their interview before you?
Yes, definitely. My interview was scheduled for 1 p.m. and the interview process started at 11. So there were quite some people in between that frame whom I could call to. The only reason I called everyone was that I was really stressed about the interview, what type of questions they're asking. So having a knowledge about the type of questions they were going through really helped me lower my stress. So I thought that was quite fair enough on my part to go around and sneak a bit that what type of questions are being asked.
So, is there anything that you regret about the interview?
I personally feel that in my initial phases of the personal interview, I could have been more confident in my approach. Like the asked me to calm myself down, that this is just a conversation. If I would have gone straight with a confident outlook towards the interview, that would have turned out to be very, beneficial for me as an experience. Like the interview went very well. I even got the offer letter, but I feel I could, improve on that phase of entering the interview.
Well, I believe that you could cut yourself some slack because that was the first interview, right? That you actually sat in, and it was the first company that visited the campus. So yeah, good to know. So when is your joining date, Nitan?
Yeah, so I received my offer letter last week only, and I will be joining Deloitte in September.
All right, that's perfect. Congratulations from our side as well, and thank you so much for your time. I believe that it was really helpful and it would help a lot of our juniors to excel in the placements and not panic, rather indulge in this recruitment drive and perform.
Thank you so much, Shubham, for having me. Great initiative. I really hope that all of the people will benefit out of it.